we're going to multiply polynomials, and what we want to remember is the properties of exponents. That's what's going to come into play. The one that says if I have x to the m times x to the n, if the bases are the same, what do you do with the exponents? Add them. So if I had negative 8x to the 6 times 5x cubed, and by the way, these are single terms, and single terms are called monomials. Monomial. The front part of this, the prefix is mono. Mono means one, right? So it's going to be one term, monomial, one term. So I've got one term times one term. Well, I remind myself that the parentheses always get done, exponents always get done first, and these are attached to parentheses, but it's to the 1 power, right? So if I raise negative 8 to the 6th to the 1 power, it's just negative 8 times x to the 6th, which is times 5x to the 3, well, that's to the 1 power, 5 times x to the 3. Now, what they did here is they rearranged. Now, we don't have to do that. We can do this in our head at this point because it's all multiplication along. But what they did is they brought the two numbers together. They brought the two x's together. So now you'd have the negative 5 times the negative 8 times the positive 5, which is negative 40, and then x, if the bases are the same, which they are, you add the exponents, and that's where they're going to come with the negative 40x to the 9th. That's where it comes from. So that if I have this guy, that's to the 1 power, that's to the 1, everybody's being multiplied, negative 2 times x cubed times 3 times x to the 7th. Well, we don't necessarily have to rearrange. Negative 2 times positive 3, that's negative 6. And x to the 3 times x to the 7 is x to what power? Okay. This is a monomial times a polynomial. And anytime you're taking a monomial times a polynomial, you use this thing called the distributive property, how you remove parentheses. And it's like a b and polyn. It's a times b plus a times c. It distributes across. So monomial times this is, because it's two terms, is called a bicycle. It's called a binomial. A binomial. So that is a monomial. That's A is a monomial. Binomial, B plus C, two terms. So it's a binomial. So if I were to apply the distributive process to this problem, it's 3x squared times 2x cubed, 3x squared times 5x. So what you'll have is 3x squared times 2x cubed, 3x squared times 5x. 3 times 2, that's going to be 6. And then x squared times x to the 1, or x squared times x to the 3, 2 plus 3, or 5. This is x squared times x to the 1, 2 plus 1, or 3. So you're going to end up with 6x to the fifth, 15x cubed. So here it says multiply. This is a monomial times a binomial. This is going to be 4x times negative 5x plus 4x times 8. 4 times negative 5 is negative 20. X times x is x squared. Whoops, I am off the paper. Would be nice. This thing should be put through here, and then I would be able to see what's up there, here, but they've never did connect it to the computer. And then plus, because the center sign here is plus, that's what that sign is. 4 times 8 is 32x. Now we get to play this game with 1/2 x squared. 1/2 x squared times 8x minus 1/2 x squared times 20. So 1/2 times 8 is 4. X squared times x squared is x to what power? X squared times x is x to what power? Third. Minus 1/2 times 20 is 10. And then 1/2, and then just x, what? X squared. Because there's no x there. There is an x there, it's x to the 0. But 2 plus 0 is 2. Now, this is not my favorite way. For those of you who have done this stuff before, this is not my favorite way of multiplying a binomial times a binomial. It's the distributive property. Some teachers love the distributive property. John Payne, when he used to teach here, he used the distributive property for everything. And for those of you who've done this before, you probably have used this thing called FOIL, which is what's on the next page. And I FOIL it, and you need to be fairly proficient at FOIL in order to be able to reverse FOIL. It's called factoring. But we're going to look at the distributive property, and this is what becomes important. This is essentially, with the set of parentheses, this acts as though it is a monomial. Because with the set of parentheses, it's one entity. So if I were to look at this, this is essentially 4x times box minus 7 times box. And the box is parenthesis 2x plus 5. I need to have that bigger. Now you use the distributive property again. So distributive property more than once. This is 4x times 2x plus 4x times 5. Subtract. Minus 7 times 2x, and this is when you try to put it in individually, minus 7 times 5. Because what you're really taking through is a minus 7. So this becomes an 8x squared plus 20x minus 14x minus 35. Which is 8x squared plus 6x minus 35. This is a pain, isn't it? If you FOILed, this is a pain. It's painful to me. But visually, it is something which unfortunately is necessary. Like, it is a pain to do problems that way. Distributive property. This is a binomial. So I have a binomial times, this is 3 terms. 3 terms means try. because a tricycle has 3 wheels. So it's a binomial times a trinomial. And after that, everything's a polynomial. 1 term is a monomial. 2 terms is a binomial, bi meaning 2, mono meaning 1. And 3 terms is a trinomial. Tricycle has 3 wheels, so tri meaning 3. And then after that, everybody's a polynomial no matter what. But you get up to 4 terms, it's a polynomial. He doesn't have a special name. That's good news. So what would this be? This would be 2x squared times x plus 4 minus 3x times x plus 4 minus 2 times x plus 4. See, B pollinating each term. He lands and he leaves something behind, right? Leaves an image of himself behind. Now the distributive property one more time, the one we're used to. This would be 2x cubed. 2x squared times 4 is plus 8x squared minus 3x times x minus 3x squared minus 3 times plus 4 minus 12x minus 2 times x minus 2x minus 2 times 4 minus 8. Now combine like terms. There's no cubes, but here's 2 squares. Here's 2 x's. So 2x cubed plus 8x squared minus 3x squared is how many x squareds? 5. Minus 12x minus 2x is how many x's? And notice there's the imprint of x plus 4 in every single term.